So we are live again. We are live again. Shout out to everybody that's coming through. Shout out to everybody that's coming through. You know, this is another one, teachable moment, for the lesson. And I called it the golden lesson because we're going to have a special guest today. And this special guest is going to walk us through some things, walk us through the motions of thought. I told you last week I'm all about the money. We were talking different ways to make money, different ways to save, different ways of coming out of debt, and you got to have some type of structured mindset or discipline. Ooh, why did I do that? Oh man, I think I messed up. I didn't set it to everybody. Let's see the settings, broadcast, edit my broadcast. Okay. Let's see what this changed the outcome. All right, so we public. I had it on private. So for those that didn't see it, sorry about that. But things and things and things. But we're live. And with being live, you know, hey, one take. All I need is one take. We not going back in and editing nothing. We just gonna give it the raw, give it the uncut, and let it flow. All right. So basically, I hear last week, I talked about things to kind of encourage people to make money. I talked about things to let people know that we are going to be going this way. I talked about the path of light. I talked about your money. I talked about things going for the greater good. Uh-oh. Let's see what we got going on here. Okay, there. All right, so we got some people in here. Okay. All right. I thought the live wasn't gonna push out. Okay, but let me go ahead and jump back in here. So I got a special guest today. But before I bring this special guest up, like I said, last week we talked about the money. I talked about getting out of debt. I talked about your finance. I talked about you actually saving. I talked about generational wealth on what is generational wealth for you, you know. And another bigger thing that I talked about too was that relationship, the relationship with money. We have relationship with people, but why not the relationship with money? Not the relationship with money. Naturally, too, what's going on? But not having a relationship with money is holding us back. A lot of people, we will sit here, give out this whole rundown of relationships, far as us being in something, upstanding, powerful. But we have no thought into it. And that's the thing what we do with our money. That's why we lose our money so fast because we sit here, take this money that we have, just like our relationships, it's meaningless. It's only what we want out of the relationship is what we getting out of it. You get the money, but you never can keep it. Same thing as people in relationships. You get the relationships, but you never can keep them because of what? The mindset and the situation that you bring into. So it plays a big part for a lot of people in relationships that they have these issues, you know, going into so forth, far as the saving and everything else, big issue. A lot of people don't know how to save. Your parents don't teach you, you don't learn from family members. So saving is not a big thing. You spend, spend, spend. Even the people that learn from their family how to save properly. You know, most people, when you start to develop yourself into managing your money, you learn how to save by buying assets that you can make money. Put your money in something, far as instead of a savings account, put it in bonds. I talked about that last week. Certified certificate, which is a CD, certificate of deposit, which the CD you can use. You know the terms that what you're dealing with. So before we go any further, I'm gonna go ahead and bring my special guest in, and let's let him talk for a minute. Brother, how you doing?
Hey, what's happening? What's happening? Can
All
you hear me?
right, I hear you good.
All right, all right. No, I don't have
And
long. Uh, I don't have long with your
all right,
family.
so
And
we
you
just
know,
gonna
you
go
say
on and
I'm a
get
special
into it real
guest.
quick. We're gonna
You
get
say I'm
into
a
it real
special
quick.
guest, but I don't know that. Okay, go
Uh,
ahead.
for some of the new people on my channel, Queen is in here, she know you, but state your name and your channel, and what is your purpose on YouTube?
I'm Gold Professor. You know, Gold P the Ruthless or GP. Yeah. So, um, indeed, I am thankful you brought me up to bless the channel. Indeed, I am thankful. Indeed.
All right. Well, we're
Yes,
just gonna
sir.
go on and get into it because I know you on the clock. You on the clock,
Yes,
like
sir.
so.
Indeed.
The reason I brought you on is mainly for you know the knowledge that you brought to YouTube and blessed us with these 9 laws. And I talk about the 9 laws of self-govern all the time. So if you can just run down the 9 laws, and we can go from there.
All right. First of all, I want to say good morning to the chat. Peace, peace, peace. Uh, you know, I'm thankful you guys are blessing my guy with your presence. Indeed. So, um, in in the 9 laws of self-governance, these 9 laws is plainly or clearly put out in meaning. It says self. It's about the self, right? Um, these 9 laws of self-governance are built in accordance to the mathematics of the universe, or the supreme mathematics of gods and earths. Uh, you are charged as uh, God to establish uh, knowledge, wisdom, understanding consistently to the well-being of the self to travel in this world and the next. So, with that being said, uh, the 9 laws of self-governance, law number one, discipline. Law number two, protection. Law number three, applied selfishness. Law number four, read, and that's in full caps. Law number five, exercise. Law number six, know your worth. Law number seven, know who you are. Law number eight, build something productive. Law number nine, plant these seeds and be patient. Now I can go into, building, but I will let you choose one, and I will build on it because time is at hand. But go ahead.
Okay. I always start with the first three. But
I give you one.
I will start with discipline, because discipline is the key to all this. So go from there and then say your blessings, and I'll take it from there.
All right. All right. Indeed, I'm thankful you uh, chose to build with the 9 laws of self-governance. Law number one uh, is definitely in every one of the laws. You can't have law number 9 without one. You can't have law number 8 without one. Okay. You can't have none of the laws without one. That's discipline. What is discipline? A lot of people don't understand what discipline is. They don't uh, seek to gain understanding of what discipline is. Okay. I will give you the proper in the proper definition of what discipline is. Discipline is the application of order. What is order? The order is the functionality of something. Without order, there is no functionality. Okay. Here's the analogy. A lot I use the car analogy because a lot of people drive cars are familiar with cars. Uh, you get in your car, you turn the key, the car doesn't start. It is out of order. You get out your car, lift the hood, check the battery cable, let's say, loose cable. You tighten that cable down, get back in the car. Now the car starts up. You've brought the car into order. Order is the functionality of something. This is what discipline is. Okay? Discipline is the application of order. Order is the functionality of something. In the event there is no order, it is not functional. Whatever it is not functional. So apply that to the self. In the event you are not functional, either physically, mentally, spiritually, and or emotionally, you are out of order. You are lacking discipline. That's what that is.
All right, sir. Thank you for your kind words, and
Yes,
I'll be
sir.
able to take it from here. And till next time, don't be no stranger. I'll be talking to you.
Indeed. Hey, I appreciate you letting me bless the stream, sir. And indeed, I am thankful you continue to do the work. And uh, hey, peace to the chat. Don't be mad if I'm trolling the chat. At times I lack discipline. Peace,
How the
peace,
bro-
peace.
Hey, how the brother that teach discipline like discipline? We gonna call
I
that for
know,
another.
right?
We gonna call that for another one, but we'll holler at you.
Yeah, I had to get at Troller X about some information, I got for him.
Yeah.
All right. Hey, you guys have a beautiful day. Gone.
All right. And we're going into. I was talking to Gold Professor, and I say for this week, I'm gonna mix it up, have some of the knowledge in, have some of the food for thought, because knowledge itself is key. A lot of people don't understand what that actually talk about knowledge itself. One moment. Sorry about that. I had a call, but basically, like I was saying, that knowledge itself is key. A lot of people don't have knowledge itself, so they tend to be lost. Having that knowledge of self, it puts you more in the mind frame of knowing who you are, knowing what you are, and accomplishing things to the benefit. And dealing with Gold Professor, I told him, the 9 laws of self govern. A lot of people really don't know the structure or deal with the 9 laws. For one, a lot of people don't know the 9 laws. And for those that do know the 9 laws, I always start with the first three because, just like baseball, 3 strikes you out, you literally have to start with the first three. Once you start with the first three, with that process, then you can move forward. You know, Discipline, law number one, discipline, he spoke on that. That's the key to all of the other laws. To get into the other 8 laws, you got to have that first law, which is discipline. And I speak on discipline because of your finance. A lot of people want to be rich. Your discipline is hindering you from being rich. If you don't have the discipline in order to learn how money works, if you don't have the discipline in order to know how to save, make money, the 9 laws, starting with number one is discipline. It starts with there. From starting with discipline, knowing how your money works, knowing how your money, you're able to structure certain ways of dealing with your money. It starts with that discipline. And it takes you in learning the knowledge, just basic. The things that I talk about, I always say is basic information. These are the things that your parents, your family members should have been teaching you, something that you can look online to get some type of knowledge for yourself, you know, starting from there. Discipline and first and foremost. I can't lose weight without discipline, you know. And me and Go P was talking about, your internal versus your external. A lot of times with the discipline starting off, a lot of people gun after the external. They want to look good on the outside, but you got to feel and look good on the inside. It starts with you understanding the knowledge that whatever you put in your body is going to affect you. So you taking bad on the outside and putting it on the inside is that's what's getting you big. That's what's keeping you unhealthy. So you start internally first. How do I feel? How do I want my body to look? Represents that. The discipline starts from there, knowing how to heal within and come out. Start eating right, putting good into the body so you can expect, the best outcome. You know, you ever seen people who eat food and just so happy and they just so happy from eating food. That's the thing. A lot of people are so happy from just eating food. And then you take that process and eating the proper nutrition, the right food. Shout out to Lashes. Lashes, her journey on going vegan, she has inspired me, inspired my wife. My wife watches her channel all the time. My wife is Jamaican as well, and my wife loves her channel. She pretty much try to watch as much as she can, and when she get it in, she get it in. You know, and the point of reference, Lashes, she talked on her channel. A lot of people, shout out to Lashes. She talks about her journey into her health, how she feels, how she looks. It started from the inside. She wanted to make a change, and so the outside appearance reflected that. And that's what I go into the finance talking about the money. You got to get the knowledge, you got to get the wisdom, the understanding to do what? Have that discipline for the process. And a lot of key things. Law number 2, protect yourself. A lot of people just thinking, protect yourself from fight. No, you have to protect your mind, your mental. Don't go in places or go around people that can harm you. Shout out to Bunny Rose in the building. I see you, Bunny. Protecting your body, Oh, I'm sorry, I didn't shout out to Black Guns and Garden that came through earlier. Black Guns and Garden, shout out to you, man. But protecting yourself is not being in the area where people are going to harm you, affect your mindset. You don't want to just be hanging around in areas that naturally affect your thought pattern to where you feel different, where you can't react and do things. Spawn in the building. What's going on? A lot of times we have issues because we're not protecting ourselves. We're not protecting our mind. We're not protecting our bodies. You know, the way we eat. I seen a video the other day on Facebook. The guy was saying that diabetes, they should change the name of diabetes to processed food because that's what's giving diabetes, processed food. Changing that mindset to protect yourself. That's the key. A lot of us, we're not protecting our mind, not protecting our bodies, not protecting our hearts, you know, let alone defending yourself from someone trying to fight you physically. You're getting beat in the mental aspect. And third of all, I always talk about this applied selfishness. A lot of times we tend to do stuff for everybody and not really do stuff for ourselves. You got to be loved. See, this is the whole part. Those three key things, it goes along with money. The whole nine laws of self governing goes along with the money aspect as well, goes along with the health aspect. You can use the nine laws in any form of life and it will give you structure. Applying selfishness, not giving some money to people, just giving 20, giving $100 to somebody, and now you're broke. You're giving your last to somebody, but they won't give their last to you. You got to be selfish sometimes. You got to think about yourself, not only within yourself too. You got to be selfish with for your family. You know, you're trying to help a friend out, help a neighbor out, and now your family, the rent's probably bad, the lights about to get cut off, and the people won't give you your money back. But it starts with the self. You got to apply selfishness. You know, you got to think about the self. I always talk about that term, happy wife, happy life, and laugh about that because how can I make someone else happy and I'm not happy? I can make you happy, but I can't make myself happy. It starts with me. If I'm not happy, how can I force happiness on someone else? Like I'm homeless, but I'm trying to go buy groceries with somebody that has a house. I got to start first with me and then go. I was having a conversation with Go Professor this weekend. We talked about that. The internal versus the external. How can I go and start a program helping young men to facilitate themselves to be better men in society? When I got two boys at home, I'm not helping them. I'm not giving them no kind of discipline, no kind of structure. It's starting internal. You have to apply selfishness. Worry about yourself first. Worry about your intermediate circuit that you need to deal with, and then move forward. Sometimes you have to be selfish. You can't just always be this yes man or this yes woman and go and applying just cheerful giving and happiness to everyone else and not yourself. You know, like I said, the discipline with money. Sometimes you're just going to have to say no. You can't give family members money. You can't just put yourself in the process of doing for everybody else and not doing for yourself. That's always been the key. A lot of people, I'm gonna go down the list real quick. A lot of times with the knowledge, law number 4 with reading. A lot of us tend to not read a book, but you can read the room. You can read your surroundings, see what's going on. Understand, you don't have to have your head in the book. For instance, I always talk about this. For people that can't read as good, you have several ways of learning. You have Audible. You have they actually have the command from Google to read things for you. You have I think they have these software with these little pens what can read a page for you. There's all sorts of ways of reading. You have for the visually impaired, they have a mechanism on your phone that can read text for you. So it's no excuse to a point to where you can teach yourself how to read by just going through the words. A lot of times people read off of memory. I had to tell my wife we had to break our kids out of that from the sight words that they were trying to give our kids. Instead of teaching them the ABCs and what sound makes as we did when we were younger, they force sight words for you to remember the words versus remembering what sound is what to make this sound to make this word. So we have to understand with that. And I keep saying it goes into everything. The reading goes into the money, learning the money. The reading goes into self-awareness, so where you can teach yourself to do better for yourself. The reading also goes into what? Just a plethora of things. The knowledge that you need for food, understanding how to eat, you know, even too the knowledge of your hair, reading books to learn how to better suit yourself for your hair, and having that knowledge to know the process. What is good for your hair? What is bad for your hair? What is good for your body? What is bad for your body? A lot of times we got to understand that. Law number 5, exercise. A lot of times, the exercising of the body, we do that. What about the mind? How many of us is actually exercising our mind? What's going on, Bruce? What's going on, Bruce? Gas, boxing, jazz, and more. Exercising the mind by reading books, by doing don't you know, by doing crossword puzzles, by also doing just I do Sudoku, just doing those little puzzles like that, Tetris, those things can easily sharpen your skills with your mind. Conscious in the building, what's going on? Conscious awareness, what's going on? Conscious. The easiest way, doing like I always told my wife when I bought my son and my daughter video games. I said it helps them with their creativeness, their creative side. A lot of parents say, well, these games aren't doing anything. You got to focus. You got to be able to move that joystick, check the surroundings on the screen, and complete journeys, complete processes, all these and most of these games. You got to be aware. A lot of times, too much of anything is bad for you. That's why you have to put your kids on restrictions. Yeah, there are a lot of puzzle apps, a lot of puzzle apps. A lot of puzzle apps. Apps pretty much run everybody's life right now. If you need fitness, it's on the app. You need to learn about money, it's on the app. If you need about health, it's on the app. Any Almost anything that you want to learn about is on the app. Just about anything. You know, and like I said, to the key of things, and shout out to Gold Professor with these 9 laws of self. Law number 6 and 7 are interchangeable. He always speak on this. Know your worth and know who you are. Know your worth and know who you are. That goes into the knowledge of self. When you're able to know your worth, you're not just some regular guy or some regular woman. You're destined for greatness. But you got to feel that within yourself. A lot of people have a lot of self-doubt. No matter how you was raised, it's basically up to you to be successful in this world. Your parents can be the richest people in the world. You know, your parents can be Jay-Z and Beyonce. You know, some of the richest, couples, but that can be your parents. But that don't mean you're going to be successful. You're just going to be the son or the daughter of a celebrity. That doesn't guarantee you success. How many celebrity kids are just regular people? Look at Will Smith's oldest son. Do anybody know of his oldest son? He's just a regular guy. But then his 2 younger kids are just in the limelight. Everybody's not built for that. But to the point, you know, that knowledge of self, you know who you are, you know your worth. That just might not be your lane. But if it was your lane, could you have the potential to be as big as your parents? You know, let's say you come from a broken home, battered, bruised, whatever, fights, all this, some of the worst things, from the graping aspect down to starving because your parents don't feed you. Once you became an adult, To me, it was almost like a reset. You can reset your journey for whatever you want because you know your worth. You know who you are. You're not the makings of the issues that you had in the past. Separate yourself from that and make yourself better. This goes into the knowledge of self. I'm not the burden of my parents. I'm the greatness of me. I put my in my yeah, everybody's hitting me up. But I'm not my parents mistakes and issues that they face. And even though through things that they go on in their life and it's spawned upon me, when you deal with epigenetics, you can bring that misery from your parents to you. You got to break that generational curse. You know, if something happened to your mom and dad in that instant to where they were getting, touched or deal with, that carries on to you. You have to break that. Even to the point of you can just getting beat by your parents all the time. You break that to where you won't bring that to your kids. You know, I known girls and dudes that are, they were literally homeless. My aunt once told me how um my little cousin, she got us some shoes. Some cleats. He played baseball. These same cleats that she ended up getting for um my cousin, she ended up getting for another teammate and bought him a pair of shoes because this dude wore the same shoes damn near all year going into the next year to spring. Baseball started in the spring. So my aunt bought him some cleats for $25. She paid $85 for my cousin cleats. She bought the boy the cleats for 25 and bought him a pair of shoes and they were cheap. Literally took those pair of shoes at the box and put them right on his feet when my cousin gave them to him. He tried to hide them and say, "Man, here I don't want nobody to know I gave you these, this and that." Don't you know the school ended up getting into a situation with my aunt calling her, asking her about, you know, why my cousin looked like he stole some shoes or why would he be bringing another kid some shoes? And it came down to it. My aunt just said, she said, he needed them. I had the money. It's my money. I can do whatever I want. How are you going to tell me not to give kids in this school shoes? What's going on, young? But when it come down to it, that was her decision to, make that young man feel good. His inner peace. He didn't care about who talked about him. His parents didn't have money. But that doesn't change him being an adult, growing up and putting himself in a position to win, that he can provide for his kids. You know, sometimes our parents make mistakes, but it's up to us to generally move forward and doing the right thing, you know. And when it all boils down, we literally have to understand like our balance in life. And I'm gonna go ahead. Law number 8: build something. Self-explanatory. You know, build something. A lot of times we look at issues in our family. A lot of times, you have somebody just break out and be great. They took it upon themselves. One of my friends, his nephew ended up becoming a doctor. He started off as a teacher, went to school to be a teacher, and went into the medical field. He studied medical in college. He had enough credits to become a teacher and went to school to become a doctor while he was being a teacher. Because you need a job, you need to work. Out of all his brothers, got in trouble all the time, did a lot of stuff, going on with them in and out of jail. He was the only one that beat the odds. He built some of himself, you know. You can build in life for you by changing your outcome. I always talk about finance for a reason. A lot of times people don't understand fully that the money will change things, but also you got to internally know yourself as well. And the last one of all, plant these seeds and be patient. As a child, once you have that child, that is your seed. You know, despite all odds, you can grow up and be a hellraiser. Do everything. The patience of your mother, your father, working with you, dealing with you. By the time you become an adult, it's up to you. You can take that tree and let it grow till it dies, or you can take that tree and replenish it and make it something different. I've known people who were big in the streets, teenage years, always ripping and running the streets, getting locked up. They sat down in jail probably a couple of times, changed their whole life. Literally changed their whole life. Then you would literally have people that just can't get right, you know. But the whole thing is they just need the guidance. Once they have that guidance on their belt, man, you had your uncle, had granddad, had grandma. Someone sit there and talk to you, be like, why are you living like this? You could be doing better with your life. Put their mind frame different. Planted a seed in them that you are greater than what you are. You just got to get out of this. And when that changed their whole life, made things for the best. But like I said, I'm gonna go ahead and get off of here. But those 9 laws, I'm gonna post them in my community tab. Shout out to Gold Professor for issuing the 9 laws. You know, that knowledge yourself. You have to start with yourself and knowing the knowledge to spread to others. You know, like I say, law number 3, apply selfishness. You got to think about yourself. You got to think about your outcomes and spread abroad. But until then, shout out to everybody that came through. You know, we moving in the right direction. It might take a little time, but we're gonna be moving in the right direction. Until then, you know what I always say? We here. Shout out NC worker in the building, and we gone.